time now for us to review headlines from today's newspapers. We are still missing the ombudsman of This Day and the Rise Media Group and This Day Newspapers Limited Group Executive Director Kayode Komolafe. KK, we miss you sorely. And we're looking forward to having you back.
We can't wait to have him back.
But in the meantime, viewers, you've got us.
All right. So we'll proceed with This Day on Sunday, where we have the lead story, Outrage over plot in PDP to Shun power shift to South. The riders say plan to throw presidential ticket open. Ridiculous. That's according to Pandef. Middle Belt Forum vows to mobilize against any northern presidential candidate. Be ready to collapse. Ohaneze Ndigbo tells main opposition party. I think this is a very strong political story, which of course is feeding of the mood of the nation, that power ordinarily ought to come to the South after 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari, and that this is not just a point for APC, it has to be for the two main political parties, if possible for all the parties. There are indications that PDP is saying anybody is free to contest, and those who are loyal to former Vice President Atiku and the current governor of Sokoto, Tambu, are saying that let them run, let's have an open primary. But then this story is still very much apt to say that there's an outrage, bring it to the South. Why can't the PDP say, for example, let's use an Igbo man this time around? And then APC says, if possible, a Southwest. But we'll see how it goes. On top of the lead story, APC Caretaker Committee meets this week to decide zoning of offices. Welfare of average Nigerian paramount to ruling party, says Oshibajo. Again, still on the politics of it all. This is the season. After 26, I'm sure that the APC, if the convention holds, there will be a defined direction that the party will take once you have a new chairman and a new ESCO, leading to August when the primaries will hold. It will be an interesting year.
Interesting times ahead.
Politically speaking. Let's take one more from This Day before we move to This Day Star, and that will be on the story on the window. NNPC pays $452.5 million cash call arrears to IOCs in 1 year. $3.54 billion joint venture debts offset since 2016. $1.143 billion still outstanding. I mean, again, this is discussing what NNPC has been up to, making money and, of course, spending money.
No doubt about that.
We go to This Day Style?
Yeah. Well, we'll go to This Day Style. And on this week's edition of the magazine insert, they are looking at comedy and talking about how comedy goes social. So you've got a lot of social media comedians there. You've got, of course, Mr. Macaroni Debo Adedayo, as well as Brother Shaggy. You've got Tauma, who's almost unrecognizable. I almost didn't know it was her.
Oh, okay, yes.
I don't know if you've seen any of her social media, they're actually very funny. And you've also got Zig Saloma and, of course, Kia, all on the cover. And then once you do go in and look at the spread on them, they each are answering questions about the beginning of their career, how they found their way on social media, and what they've done so far. So it is actually quite an interesting read, so please do.
It's a very interesting story, given what is happening in Nollywood now.
Absolutely.
I mean, comedy, comedy is like the crown prince of the content in Nollywood now.
That's true.
And much more than that, they say a new set of comedians. Who are making people happy, but who are also making good money online, doing skits. They're not necessarily actors. Some of them do act on the big screen, but majority of them are on Instagram, on social media, making good money. You'll be surprised what they're doing. And they sell. They're influencers. People use them, and it's a totally different way to create content, and make money from it.
It speaks in so many ways to the rise of social media and how important the role that it's played, because a number of years ago they couldn't do this. I mean, millennials are on there. You could just create your content and
So if you're funny, you can't say that, a director is not using me.
Absolutely.
You can make your own space.
Create your space. That's
and
what
like you mentioned with these skits, some of them put a lot of effort into it. A lot of them are the only character. The editing. A lot of them are the only character, and they're playing all of these different roles. It's really, really, really innovative stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
All righty.
Abby,
All right, we
The
will
Guardian,
take a look
right?
at The Guardian, where we've got here, Rap's foreign ministry fight over spending power of missions. Of course, this is an ongoing situation. It's been there back and forth in terms of the different missions in the country, and they've had a couple of people to go back and forth on.
Yeah.
We also have 2022 Appropriation Act allows missions to spend without supervising ministry's approval. You also have the National Assembly to check books periodically for accountability, which of course is very, very important, and that's been a sore thumb in this entire fiasco for quite a bit. Spending budget without recourse to ministry eliminates bureaucracy. And it goes further to say, says move will end sordid tales of neglect, debts, salary arrears. That's the top story on today's Guardian newspaper.
Okay.
I don't know if we have something else.
Yes, let's move quickly to Sunday Vanguard. We can spend a minute on that. And I think two stories are interesting. The cover story, which is 1 year on, service chiefs struggle as bandits, terrorists, kidnappers change tactics. It's been 1 year since President Buhari changed the security architecture,
Chiefs.
the leadership,
Yes.
the security chiefs, and we're saying that we're still dealing basically with the same issues. Not much of an improvement has been recorded. Let's see if this will galvanize them into action. And then on the window, 2023, Afenifere dumps Yoruba aspirants, backs Southeast, once against gang up. I think that will be an interesting read on page 5. Afenifere, as you know, is the lead Yoruba social cultural, if you like, socio-political organization speaking in some ways for the Yoruba people of the Southwest. And they're saying that, let's be fair. Fair is fair. It ought to be the turn of the Southeast this time around. And, no gang up, they're saying, give it to the Southeast. But let's
Just
see how it plays
out
out. You can run affairs of the country on the basis of a socio-political group. You have to be on the party. And let's see what the parties come up with.
Absolutely.
Do we have anything interesting in the Sun?
We
In
do.
the Punch?
Well, we'll take a quick story on there. The lead story there talks about fresh defections loom as APC swears in state excos this week. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's coming off the congresses that were held a few months ago.
Oh,
everywhere.
no.
The congresses.
Okay, fine.
Everywhere. But they've not been sworn in. So, and there were other parallel congresses by different aggrieved parties within the party. So whoever the national swears in, there might be dissension as to say what's going on. We may leave the party if we are not recognized. Do we have time at all for any other thing, or
Do we? Our director runs a tight ship.
it was a tight one. Okay, just one more paper. Sunday Independent. Again on 2023, PDP faces acid test over zonal agitation, which is pretty similar to what we read in this day, the lead story. And then Oshibajo likely been pushed into presidential race. That's coming from Oladejo. We've seen the VP everywhere.
Yes.
We've seen the style that his guys are using. It looks like he's getting closer, to making that
that declaration
announcement.
Yes.
More like it, or
we have to wait and see.
Or maybe we'll endorse somebody. We don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.